Hello, my name is Ben Bucher, and I am going to be performing an aspirin cycle test on Mr. Martinez today. And beforehand, we measured his resting heart rate and blood pressure. He had a resting blood pressure of 122/76 and a resting heart rate of 74. And his calculated max heart rate, predicted max heart rate, is 191 based on his age of 24 years. And he had his submaximal range of 60 to 85% would be 115 to 162 beats per minute. So today, like I said, we're going to be doing a 6-minute exercise test, and we're going to be measuring or predicting your maximum VO2, and what that is just predicting how much oxygen you can take in a maximum work setting. Right now, Mr. Martinez has been riding the bike for 2 minutes for a warm-up at 50 watts, and he's been doing it at a pace of 50 to 60 revolutions per minute. Right now, I'm just gonna, for the last minute of the warm-up, gonna take his heart rate and blood pressure just to make sure that everything looks good and everything is normal before we bump up the workload to start the actual test. So take a heart rate for. So he had a heart rate of 100, and now his blood pressure is his heart rate his blood pressure during the warm-up was 136/76. Okay, so now I am going to bump up the workload to the actual test workload, and I calculated his workload to be at 150 watts, and that's based on his exercise history and the fact that he's in good overall health condition. So I'll go ahead and bump that up now and start the 6 minutes. So beforehand, I measured his cardiovascular risk factors and found that he has no of the 7 risk factors. And based off this, he's at low risk to start an exercise test and does not need prior doctor approval to do this. And so at 2 minutes, every 2 to 3 minutes, I'm going to take a heart rate and blood pressure and go from there. So during this time, he's going to continue doing a pace of 50 to 60 revolutions per minute. If at any time during the test you start to feel lightheaded, dizzy, or you start feeling just uncomfortable in general, let me know. We can go ahead and terminate the test at any time. I'll be monitoring everything, and if I see anything unusual, I'll also terminate the test.
Thanks, Doc.
and start taking the first heart rate. Okay, so the first heart rate is 134 beats per minute. And then I'll take your blood pressure. Okay, so I got a blood pressure of 162 over 74. Okay, and then based on this RPE scale, what would you say your level is right now?
Right now, I'd give it about a 14.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I'm gonna wait one more minute before I take the next heart rate. Okay, that is a heart rate of 142. And I'm just going to take a blood pressure. And then you get a blood pressure of 168 over 78. And then I'll take one final heart rate and see if he is in steady state. Okay, that's a heart rate of 146, which is in that plus or minus 5 beats to stay in steady state. So I will ask for an RPE. What would you say on this scale you are feeling right now?
50.
Okay, so now I would go ahead, that's the 6-minute test, I would go ahead and bump them down, back down to 50 watts as a cool down for 3 to 5 minutes, and I would take a blood pressure every 2 to 3 minutes and heart rate at the same intervals, and then one more heart rate and blood pressure at the very end, just to make sure that everything's going down normally and nothing's staying elevated or anything like that. So thank you very much for your time, Mr. Martinez. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, sir.